I mean, in terms of presenting a letter to the D, I mean, so how does that work? Would that suffice what you already have, or would you need a different letter?
No, I think ongoing reports will suffice,
Okay.
because
Okay.
it states that there is a condition there.
Yeah.
Obviously, at the end, that there'll be more of an elongation of the symptoms, and I was researching on the internet, and I printed off a few things, and I thought I'd bring them with me, because some of the symptoms don't apply now. They did, and some of the symptoms have never applied, whereas the polar opposites applied. So I can run through with you.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, like I said to you last time, I purposely put you last on the list so I don't feel pressured to finish within 30 minutes. So you're my last person today.
Right.
So that's
so the consultations used to be an hour. Now they're 30 minutes.
It's 30 minutes. There's always been 30 minutes.
With other psychiatrists as well, because I think you know
it's usually the first. So the first is 1 hour. So maybe what you remember is the first, is the very first one.
Right.
Yeah, but subsequent ones is 30 minutes.
Okay.
You know, so the first one you had with the other psychiatrist was about 1 hour.
Yeah.
But after that, except maybe he put you on as his last, or sometimes we could extend occasionally by our own discretion.
Yeah.
But there's pressure when you extend and somebody else is waiting for you.
Yeah.
So, but if you're the last person, I'm not pressured. I can go on for. Yeah. So I'd requested that you be put last on my list.
Yes.
Today, so that way I can spend time a little bit.
Okay. Thank you.
So but one of the things, so I noticed through your notes, I mean, you've been coming here since 2024, is that we don't have a proper, what's called a core assessment, a full, detailed, everything in one document.
Right.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, today I will want to also achieve that, put everything in one single document.
Right.
We have your stories, bits and bobs in different documents. I have had 2 sessions with you.
Yeah.
The previous psychiatrist had 2 sessions with you. The clinical psychologists have had sessions with you. But I need all of them to be in just one single document. So whatever is missing in the other documents, I would have to. And some of them may even be in the other documents, but I just want them to be all in one. So if someone wants to look at your case, he can come to one document.
Yes, absolutely.
Every single thing.
And I've done this myself. I've applied for the minutes of my sessions with Emma, and for the letters from my previous psychiatrist. So I keep files, methodical files, and everything. That's just my nature, you know.
Yeah.
And I've got everything in one place, and I would hope that this institution would, equally, copy what I'm doing.
Okay, that's fine. So, do you want to talk on anything specific at first, and then we go into all? I mean, it's your choice. We've got 2 sessions.
Yeah.
We've got this one, and we've got the one for next month as well.
Yeah.
Because I already, so we could explore. Because first things first, it did seem to me like, at least now we have a diagnosis. We have, when I say, and you are agreeable with that, so I wanted you to read it and tell me what your opinion was. Because I think it's not even just the closest thing, that's actually, as far as mental health is concerned, that's the diagnosis. It doesn't mean there's something abnormal, but it just means that this person has changed from how he used to be.
Absolutely.
And even though he may function well, he may be talking well and rational and all of that, that doesn't take away the reality of his distress as far as work.
Yes, as far as socialising, as far as having a living partner, as far as working, as far as doing many things. So it's my understanding from things I've read that EPCACE isn't actually in the DSM at this moment in time.
In this, so in the more recent, so we have something called the ICD-11, which
Yeah.
is the more recent one.
Right.
Then we have ICD-10, which is the one just before the ICD-11.
Is the IDC the
ICD.
English version of the DSM, or is it DSM International?
So the DSM is American, ICD
Yeah.
is British.
Right.
Yeah, so we don't use the DSM,
Yeah.
we use the ICD, and so
Yeah. And what does the ICD stand for?
International Classification of Disease.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what we use. And so you will notice that in your letter I didn't just put the diagram but the code.
Yes.
But the code in, so now it's no longer called EPCACE, it's called complex PTSD.
Yes.
It's under it.
Right.
But just 2-3 years ago, because ICD-11 is very recent, actually, it was called EPCACE.
Yeah.
So,
But they're trying to bring that back, aren't they?
no, so psychiatry is evolving, because like you noticed, I mean, you talked about the spirituality and all of that.
Yeah.
What captures for
Yes.
that. So it's constantly evolving. And so they're not trying to bring it back, but ICD-10 is still very, very present,
Yeah.
because ICD-11 is only a new concept, but ICD-10 has been there for many years.
Yes.
So-
So what I've had a mind of, and I'm open to it, and I'd like to pursue it. The National Health state that they are tentatively trying to include spiritual experiences into mental health. And so I wonder if you know of any avenues where the government are interested in psychiatrists recommending patients who are articulate enough and have had a broad expanse of this knowledge to help with further diagnosis and to be included in some sort of communications, so I can express exactly how this has affected me for 15 years. It's been pretty devastating.
As far as I know, I mean, we have chapels, we don't have, because I don't know what kind of, for now we have organized religions. So what I mean by that is that we have Islam, we have Christianity, we have Buddhism and all of that. For now, would you say what you have experienced can be captured within one of these organized religions?
No.
So that makes it a bit harder, because what we currently have is, or we can signpost you to a chaplain.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah,
Christian
to have
faith.
spiritual
We
advice
can-
from a pastor
yes,
or things like
exactly.
that.
But if what you have experienced doesn't fall into any of this defined, it's either if it doesn't fall into it, or you could say, well, even though it doesn't fall into it, I don't mind still having a conversation with a pastor,
Yes.
or an imam, or
Well,
Buddhist. or
okay,
anything like that.
here's the thing, Doctor, because there are people that have studied this stuff extensively in psychology, and one of the most eminent was a psychiatrist called Dr. Carl Gustav Jung. And he was Austrian, and he died in '61. He was one of the Freudian camp.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now, he understood absolutely.
Okay.
And so, when I first came here, I requested a Freudian psychologist, if at all possible, because I'm saying that I need someone with extensive knowledge into the metaphysical, into the spiritual, because I've experienced metaphysical things, like people have in the Bible, God speaking to them, Jesus speaking to them. I've experienced that stuff. And I know it's actual, real phenomena. And having Jesus speak with me, and God speak with me, Yahweh of the Old Testament, and then the devil make propositions, is kind of like a big deal. And I'm like, well, this is why I'm dissociated from society.
Okay.
And I can't see any point in going out and wasting my life labouring for money which I don't value.
Okay.
I don't drive anymore, I don't go out anymore, I don't have a partner anymore, I don't travel anymore, all these sort of things. And so these are the conversations I want to have with someone, because tentatively I do endeavour to try to get back out again, to feel human again, because my mind is in such a place whereby people don't understand me.
Okay.
And even if I'm speaking to you, in all due respect, there's a facet of what I've experienced, which is the spiritual, which you're not trained in.
Okay.
And so I'm assuming that you may not have any knowledge in, and that's something that's really, really powerful, because millions of people all over the world have had these spiritual awakenings.
Okay.
And when we are deeply traumatically compromised, something happens to the ego, and it can't stand the pressure anymore, and it frazzles and it collapses. My ego collapsed, and I had to build myself up again through the past 15 years. And speaking about going through the dark night of the soul, the hero's journey, and all these different sorts of things, and having all these metaphysical experiences, and travelling out of the body, and becoming so in tune with cosmic intelligence, and then being compelled to take psychedelics so I can see into other dimensions of consciousness, and they've really, really helped me in one respect, but they've alienated me, because most people, they don't know anything about that.
Okay, interesting.
So I've got a few things here that I'll run by you.
Okay.
The major changes, I don't know whether you might want to write those down.
Okay. Partners meaning relationships. This.
Yes. No
relationship.
No relationships.
Okay.
You can add friends there as well. There's no friends. Oh, have I got friends? No, I don't think I've got friends there. No friends. Oh yeah, that's the last one. No friends. I'm too intense for friends. I'm too metaphysical, Every single one of my days consists of engaging in the metaphysical. It's entirely time-consuming. So here is a print-off of what EPCACE symptoms are, and of course they vary, somewhat from site to site. So the hostile, mistrustful attitude, fundamental distrust for the world and others, absolutely, that's 100%.
Okay.
The social withdrawal and estrangement, isolating oneself from others and feeling a sense of emotional distance, absolutely. I feel like an alien.
Okay.
Chronic feelings of emptiness or hopelessness. I don't experience hopelessness, and I never ever have. I don't know what hope is, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't engage in hope. I mean, that maybe is a whole psychological exploration in itself. Which I'll probably look into myself as to why I don't feel hopeless. I don't have any aspirations to do anything. I don't think it's necessary to do anything anymore.
Okay.
All those aspirations, they died.
Okay.
Yeah? Feeling of being on edge, a constant feeling of threat or being in a state of heightened alert even when not in danger. I'm hypervigilant.
Okay. Have you always been?
Well, I suppose I had, but this mustn't detract from EPCACE, because it comes about through trauma.
Okay.
Since the death of my mother, of course, I never trusted anyone. I was in and out of children's homes and different schools, and kids picking on me because I'm the new kid. Always entering schools, half term, mid-term, when everybody else knew what they were doing and I didn't know what I was doing. I could barely read and write until I was 20 years old.
Okay, quiet, please.
Emotional dysregulation, persistent sadness, difficulty with anger control or other emotional outbursts. Absolutely, I used to be within the first 5 years.
Okay.
But since then, I've become much more accepted and I've pacified.
Okay.
But I used to cry every single night watching anything. I used to read all day for 12 hours, then I used to watch some movies in the evening time. And every single one of it, no matter what it was, I'd be crying.
Okay.
There's something very, very, you know, destabilizing within me. But over time, that's got better. Negative self-perception. Now, that's gone the opposite way for me.
Yeah.
I have absolutely positive self-perception in every way. And one of it is, you know, it's kind of like psychedelic experiences expand the consciousness.
Okay.
And I've taken over 200 of those. And then an enormous amount of reading into all different sorts of esoteric has put me in a cognitive realm of a few people maybe, you know, on the planet, because I'm so broad. I'm not just specialised in one thing, you know. I know a lot about a lot of subjects, and I bring them all together. My mind has this, you know, amazing ability to be able to just to see so many things, and oh, that fits here and that fits here. And I can watch a video, I can read a book, and I'll go, okay, get this book out, get that book out, because this and this and this, in relation to consciousness and spirituality and all these different sorts of things. Trauma-related symptoms may include dissociation. I have become dissociated. I don't have flashbacks. I have them in the early days. First 3 years, I don't have them now. Engaging in self-injurious behaviours. I have engaged in self-injurious behaviours for many years.
Okay.
Doing dangerous things. And some people would constitute taking enormous amounts of psychedelics as being one of those things. There were times when I had excessive alcohol and cocaine and unprotected sex and driving too fast and travelling alone, never taking any precaution about where I may end up. And you know, I'd climb mountains on my own. You know,
went on your own without a gear, without.
Yeah, I just, you know, I'd be gone for like a whole day climbing a very, you know, dangerous mountain just in my shorts and my sandals,
Okay.
with a bottle of water,
Okay.
and no concern for falling or tripping or hurting myself in any shape or form. In actual fact, I did it because of that, because it brought an aliveness. An otherwise aliveness. And one day I climbed, or not one day, 1 week I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, Tanzania, and 20,000 feet, and that was a 7-day hike, and I chose the hardest. And I only had one African guide that used to walk 300 yards ahead of me and not talk to me all day long. And I was perfectly happy with that. And then the 3 guys that carried the gear, they'd go ahead and they'd set up camp and cook the food, and we'd arrive there after 12 hours, and then we'd sleep for 12 hours, then we'd do it again. And I had a very powerful experience whilst I was doing that. I felt on the brink of death through exhaustion and everything, and I lost my sight, my vision, and I became dissociated for 3.5 hours on that mountain because I couldn't stand the trauma of it anymore. Symptoms, okay. Disturbances in self-organisation, negative self-concept, the contrary. You know, if we look at grandiose narcissism, then you know, of course, you need maybe 5 or 7 of them to qualify. I don't come close to qualifying for a narcissist, but I do have an exceptional opinion of myself, due to the quality of person that I am, my integrity. And when it comes down to shame and guilt, I've got nothing to have shame and guilt about. I don't do anything that warrants that, you know. I've got integrity. And, you know, I've always treated people in that facet. Negative changes in thinking and mood, feeling detached from others' emotional numbness, or having a distorted sense of blame. No sense of Well, I mean, it depends what it means by having a distorted sense of blame. If it means that have I projected what happened to me via my mother and via the African encounter, how I've become disillusioned with human beings and think they're all potentially corrupt and you can't trust them, well, yes. So have I continued to blame other people and think little of them? Yes. And it's a sweeping emotion which isn't conducive to any relationship, because if you're always distrusting, if you're always looking for the time when they're going to lie to you, cheat to you, let you down, then there could be never any growth, could there? You know, because friends always used to tell me, you don't let anybody in, you've got a wall up, and you know. A sense of hopelessness, a constant feeling of emptiness, or belief that your future is foreshortened. Again, that's a concept I'm going to have to look into, because I don't do belief, I don't do hope, I don't do faith. I'm too much of a realist for that. I'm too present for that, and you know, I've not got any connotations of delusion in any shape or form. And I don't wish for a brighter future or hope that one day I'm going to do this and do that. I'm just now. I'm just present now. And it just is what it is. Identity confusion, a distorted or unstable sense of self. Well, I don't believe in the self.
Okay.
I mean, it depends, you know, what philosophy you're going to be looking at. The Buddhists don't believe in a self. Certain psychologists don't believe in the self. Certain philosophers have looked for the self and said they can't find it because it's a metaphysical thing. It's just a concept, the self. And I've looked for the root of what I am, and you know, I end up in consciousness.
Okay.
And beyond consciousness, there's pure awareness. And so that's what I am. And so if that's the self, then okay, that's the self. So I'm doing this because I want to help you as much as possible, and I want to give more time for other things, rather than you seeking out, you know, how I qualify, what boxes I tick. I'll just lay it on the table before you.
Okay. Well, okay. Thank you. I'm going to ask the specific questions now, but you know, interestingly, so when I wrote my impression, I did write that there are some things that are typical, but you are experiencing the opposite. I actually captured that in my notes.
Right.
I said why most individuals internalize trauma as self-blame or diminished self-worth. Some may externalize it by developing compensatory or defensive self-concepts, which could come out like the godlike superiority or very strong, which is what we are seeing in how you reacted to that experience. You know, and I did already capture that.
And that also could be a protection mechanism, yeah?
Yes, that's what I captured. And that could
protecting myself from any further failures.
Say, okay, it's this is their fault. They are the ones that are, you know, got something wrong with them, and you know, and all of that. So that could, clearly.
Now, in my particular instance of being shot by an intruder in my house, well, I can't see where that would have been my fault, other than I never fortified my home. Because I didn't want to treat, you know, all the indigenous people with such disrespect that they're all going to be coming into my home to shoot me, because I felt a lot of goodwill from the Ghanaian people.
Okay.
But as it turns out, it was probably a Nigerian that shot me, and they're a very different character.
Okay.
And so I can't apportion any blame for that, other than I didn't take appropriate precautions. Because if you're going to walk around in a ghetto with your handbag or your wallet sticking out your pocket or something, then you're being foolish, and you are tempting something, and you just shouldn't do that. There's certain criteria that you have to abide by. So.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I think in terms of diagnosis, I think we are clear on that, and I'm happy you kind of say, look, this explains a lot, and this kind of fits. So in diagnosis, I don't think there's a confusion about diagnosis, because the truth is, after I spoke with you last time, I reflected and I wrote my notes. I said, you know what, this is what we're dealing with here, and it is a legitimate. We don't see it every day, but it's still a legitimate experience. Yeah. And one of the conversations I had with my colleagues about this, I said, look, we need to also explore. This doesn't necessarily mean psychosis, doesn't necessarily mean this is how you processed your experience and you came out on the other side. Yeah. And it's not to make it a pathology. It's not necessarily a pathology, but it's still a reality, something real that happened. And people cope with, though maybe the only thing, like I said, what I wrote down, it's important to recognize that this identity disturbance after trauma can manifest in diverse ways. Some people could have negative self-confidence, which doesn't apply to you, or inflated self-concept, superiority, special powers, godlike identity. Or it could be fluctuating self-concept, alternating between devaluation and grandiosity. Yeah. So there is no one rule that sticks to everyone. I'm very grandiose. Yeah. Okay. And I don't have any overt persecutory traits, but I am very, very disciplined. And I go to the gym 6 days a week, and I'll cycle 7 miles, between 4 and 6 days a week. I'll be constantly reading or learning. There's never a single minute in my day when I'm not pushing myself towards some goal or away from something. Okay. Am I pushing myself away from failure? When I go to the gym, am I trying to stave off the inevitable because I'm living in fear of being old? Probably. But I've done it all my life. And so, but things change. When you're younger, you do it because you want to protect yourself. You want to be in a position whereby no one's going to be a threat to you. So you do that. But then when you get older, the chances are no one's a threat to you at your age because you're not living that sort of life. So you do it because age is threatening you. So if EPCACE is in relation to always feeling threatened, then I'm feeling threatened about life, of course. Okay. You know what we're going to do now, if you don't mind, because like I said, I want to capture, I've got all these questions written out before you came, so that I could capture everything I need to put in that one file document. So I'm going to just ask specific questions. Okay. Okay, I think basically, first question I have here is, I noticed that in your first conversation with Dr. Sheikh, the first psychiatrist you did see, you said you hope, or I don't know, you didn't use the word hope, but you said you would like to socialize again. Yes. What have you done in all these years, 15 years, to kind of, have you tried to do that? What steps have you taken? Yeah. I go online forums and things like that, and try to strike up relationships. But everybody is suffering from the affliction of the Tower of Babel. Everybody is in their own world, and everybody's got their own opinions, and everyone's full of their own biases. And very few people are open-minded and can accept another person's opinion because it all boils down to I don't believe this, or and it's kind of look, it's not what I'm like this all of a sudden. I'm frustrated. There has been a couple of times when I have met someone, they've lived in the vicinity, and they said, oh, well, let's come to meet, and I've gone out with them for conversations, for philosophy and this, that and the other. But when they dry up,
I lose interest. Because it isn't a friend, someone to go and have a coffee with, that I want. I want information. And so now what I do, I spend my time speaking with AI, because AI just gives me the information. I don't need any ego, I don't need any emotions, I can't stand human emotions. It gets in the way.
Okay, that's helpful.
So you could say I've become emotional because I don't believe in love. I think concepts like compassion, pity and empathy are superfluous. I don't believe anybody, of course you have to say believe now and again, but I don't consider that those things are actual real things. And if someone says to me, well of course, feeling compassionate about someone, I say, well look, what's the result of feeling compassion? If there's a result, then okay, it's got a value. But then it's not compassion, it's action. So I'm like, just do the action. If you feel compassionate about someone sitting in a doorway, freezing cold, then you give them a coat, give them a blanket, give them some money, give them some food. Don't just tell me you're feeling compassionate about these people. That's nonsense. And that's despicable, because there's no action pertaining to it.
Okay, thank you. So, in terms of mental health history, all before 15 years ago, have you ever had to have any contact with mental health services?
Yes.
Okay, before the whole, that incident in Ghana?
Yes.
Have you had contact with mental health services?
Yes.
Okay, do you want to share that with me?
When I was very young,
Okay.
after the death of my mother,
Okay.
I couldn't settle in schools, and I wouldn't concentrate. I can't remember a great deal, but I do remember as a very young boy, maybe 6 years old, I went to see a psychiatrist, and it was short-lived, and I was never given any medication. I never had to go to see a therapist. I used to play and really enjoy being with the psychiatrist because he paid attention to me.
Okay.
And I became a human being. And I'm pretty sure that the psychiatrist's diagnosis, this guy is fine, this kid's fine, he just needs a little love. You know, he's estranged from his father, and his two sisters, and his mother killed herself, and now he's thrown into orphanages, and he goes to different schools, and, you know, the guy's in a living hell.
Did anyone, when you were that age, were you told about how your mom died when you were just that age? Or you found out much
Other
later?
than she gassed herself.
They told you that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But nobody ever wanted to talk about any details. Never.
Okay.
And that went on right until father's death.
You were about how old when this happened?
When father died.
When mom?
Well, not 4.
Yeah.
4
4
years old.
years.
4
Okay.
years old.
Okay. And that was the first. Did you have any other encounter with the psychiatrist after that?
No.
Okay. Okay, so family history of mental illness?
I mean, is that family history of mental illness?
No, I'm asking you.
Oh.
I'm asking you.
Oh,
is there any family history, as far as you are aware of anyone struggling with their mental health?
Yes. Depression
Okay.
is prevalent.
Who? Do you know?
Father,
Okay.
brother, 2 sisters.
They are diagnosed or you suspect they do?
No, they've been on psychotropic medication.
Okay.
For pressures of life.
Okay. Are these siblings older than you, brother, sister?
Brothers 2 years older, sisters 2 and 4 years younger.
Okay.
But I was fortunate never to suffer from depression without any core reason. I went into depression when I was shot and my whole life fell down. I was in depression for about 7 years. And I may be in some sort of depression now, but I don't feel sad, I don't feel lost. I just Well, I mean, I feel like an alien having an Earth experience.
Okay.
And that's sort of like, I feel asocial, you know. I'm indifferent to social environments.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Apart from depression, any other mental illness that you will?
No.
Okay, in the family. Current physical health conditions?
Very good.
Okay, so none at all?
No.
Okay. In the past, any surgeries?
Right hip replacement. I've had ongoing back trauma for many years. It's always there.
Okay.
I have to. I suppose you could say, yeah, I'm going through a good patch now, but you know, a back issue is very volatile, and you know, any day it can come on where I'll be bedbound for a week.
Okay.
That's happened many, many times, and I've been on medication many times for that. And of course, the back issue comes about renewed when I'm suffering from trauma.
So when your emotions are down,
Yeah.
it kind of flares up?
That's the first thing that goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any diet or nutritional issues?
No.
No. Okay. No, you don't have any problem chewing. Any allergies?
No.
Okay. Alcohol and substance use?
I drink a couple of pints of beer a day.
Okay. In your own opinion, is it a lot?
No. I consider it an aperitif.
Sorry?
I consider it an aperitif.
What's that?
French for appetizer.
Okay. So how's your appetite generally at the moment? How often do you eat daily?
Oh, my appetite's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. But I very often go on diets because I'm very strict with myself.
Okay.
Always looking for the perfect body.
Okay.
And so I'll go on this diet, then I'll go on that diet, then I'll, you know, do fasting and all different sorts of things like that.
Okay. Any family history of physical health history like high blood pressure or diabetes in the family?
No.
Not you now?
No.
No, okay. And, current medications, are you on any medication at the moment?
Sometimes I take something for prostate inflammation.
Okay. Sometimes?
Yeah.
Or it's supposed to be daily?
You're supposed to be dead, you're supposed to be forever, but
Yeah,
I don't like the idea of things being forever.
Okay,
And so I've been on it for a couple of months, and I've got a renewed prescription. It's there when I get tired of dribbling every time I go to the toilet.
Okay, so that's for BPH, benign prostatic hyperplasia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This doesn't apply to you, Neil. Personal family history. Okay, so a bit about, I know you mentioned it, and I think it's in the notes as well, but we don't need to go into too much details. Where your dad and mom were they together when you were born, as husband and wife? Okay. And how many kids did they have between them?
7.
7. And you are number
Oh,
one?
but between my mum, 5.
5. Okay, between them, 5.
Yeah, 5.
Okay, between parents. But so the remaining 2.
Well, my father married again and had 7 more.
7 more after the 5 of you.
Yeah, with a stepmother.
Okay.
The woman.
And among the 5, you are number what?
2. Second from the eldest.
Okay, so 2 or 5. 6.
But there was a death of one of the sisters,
Okay.
which was the one between me and my elder brother.
Okay, so you would have been 6.
4. Oh
You are 4
no!
now.
Yeah, 4
So
when my mother died. I would have been 2. 2 when my elder sister died, less than 1 year old in a cot
Okay.
death.
Okay.
And so
So
that,
there are 5 of you. So
there were 5.
You're actually number 3. There was your brother, your sister who died, and then you. You're the
Yeah.
third. You're the third. You're not.
Yeah,
number 2.
but the second one never existed.
Yeah.
She died before I was born.
Yeah. So okay, I understand that, but then there were 2 after you.
No,
1 after you.
one after me.
Just 1.
Well, I mean, yeah, the dead sister, she was after me.
Oh, she was after you, not before you. She was not. She's not between you and your brother. You said your brother, your dead
Yeah,
sister,
she had to be after me. Yeah, because there's 2.5 years between me and my elder brother.
Okay.
But there's only a year or 18 months between my 2 sisters and me. So
Are
yeah.
they twins? Your sisters?
Mhm.
Are they twins?
No.
Okay. So this is 1, 2. Okay, I get.
Yeah.
Okay, 4. So 4. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Yeah, 4. Okay. Okay, so that's family history. So growing up, how did you? You said about your mom passed on at 4. Before then, were you all living as a family together?
Yes.
When your mom was still alive?
Yes.
And then afterwards, what happened afterwards? Is that when you went into foster care?
Afterwards, my 2 sisters went into separate foster care.
Where was your dad at this point?
Well, he had to start rebuilding family home.
Okay.
After the death of mother, he obviously had a lot of issues, of which I've got no idea about.
Okay.
But my younger sister was 1 year old. She went into care.
Okay.
Second eldest sister was 2. She went into care.
Okay.
Foster homes.
Yeah.
Myself and my elder brother went
Yeah.
into care homes,
Okay.
communal care homes. So
Okay.
we was always together.
You and your brother?
Yeah,
Okay.
which was useful.
Okay, cool. Okay. And that went on to, did that come back at any point to kind of take all 4 of you?
Not directly. He married again and got a new house and was refurbishing the house. And he used to come to take me and my elder brother for weekends here and there.
Okay.
Before, ultimately, when I was 8 years old, I went with my elder brother to live with the father. Then, 3 years later, my eldest sister came, and then 7 years, the youngest one came.
Okay.
Maybe even 10 years.
Okay.
She was settled. She knew. She didn't know the father.
Yeah.
You know, she was brought up by
So,
foster
yeah.
parents.
Okay. So, but I mean, quite difficult for her to integrate with the family.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So 10 years later, that means you were at this point probably around 18. You were like in your late teens when the youngest came to join the family.
No. I went to join the family at
Yeah.
8.
3 years later.
So maybe, yeah, because I left home at 17.
Oh, okay.
So,
She didn't meet you. The youngest didn't meet you.
yeah. So she would have come probably 5 years after then.
Okay.
You know, difficult to fix a time on any of this stuff. It just happened.
Yeah.
You know?
But how was your experience when you moved, before you moved back and joined Dad, and even before you left home? How was that phase of your life? What do you remember about that phase?
Before I left home.
Yeah, just during in the care communal home,
Yeah.
and then I guess that's when you also did your primary school. It was in
Some
that
of
phase
it.
of
Some of it. Yeah.
And then you went to join Dad.
Yeah.
With your brother.
Yeah.
How was that phase of your life? Would you say, how would you describe it in terms of love, care, safety, balance?
Well, love, nurturing, but there wasn't any.
Okay.
Never any love and nurturing. But when the father brought us back to the family, there was a caring, a stability.
Okay.
A stability came about, you know.
Okay. Okay. Then you left home at 17. Was there a particular reason why you left at 17?
I left to go to live in Canada for
Okay.
6 months because the friend I had, my best friend from school, his family was emigrating.
Okay.
And so they asked me if I wanted to go over to keep my best friend company for 2 weeks with the move because the father was going to be busy and wasn't going to be there. You know, just the mother was going to be there.
Okay.
And so we were both 17, and so we went there and, you know, we started a little business together, doing gardening and window cleaning, car washing.
Okay. And did anything happen to your friend afterwards?
No.
Okay.
I came
So
back
How long did you stay in Canada for?
6 months.
6 months, and you came back. And
Yeah.
when you came back home, or then you moved out of the house?
Yes, I came back to live with my father again. Less than a year, because by the time I was 18 I was living in a bedsit on my own in the city.
Okay. And where's this place? Here in Leicester? Did you
Leicester,
grow up
yeah.
here in Leicester?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. At the moment, do you have any caring responsibilities?
Caring?
Yeah, like in anyone you're taking care of, child, or anything like that. Okay. Social life and networks at the moment?
No.
Okay. Tell me a bit about the kind of jobs you did. We're going to come, there's a column on cultural and spiritual needs. Tell me a bit about, so you said something about in Canada with your friend, a bit of cleaning and all of that. But when you came back home, what kind of jobs did you do before you, just like more like your work?
Yeah, my father, he had his own business in the motor trade.
Okay.
Where he would buy cars and fix them, spray them, building and panel beating, and then resell them again. He was doing this with his brother.
Okay.
And so I went to work for him, learning that trade.
Okay.
And I did that from when I was 15 years old. I did it as a weekend job. And then when I was 16, I went to work for him doing that, and then I left to Canada, then I come back, and then I did my own thing. But then I set up my own business.
Same business?
Yeah,
Okay.
I set up the own business with my elder brother, buying and selling cars.
Okay.
Because we could do that. The father and his brother left the premises, and so we took the rent over.
Okay.
And so then we did that for a few years, me and my older brother.
Up until, then because I know in your history you then started traveling, you left for somewhere new.
Yeah, so what I can say about my life is that it's been very independent.
Okay.
I've been an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I haven't ever really been employed.
Okay.
When I was working building, I was working in the building construction. I was self-employed.
Okay.
And so I'd be a contractor, I'd be hired to do this and that, and then I'd do that. And so I did all these entrepreneurial things for many years.
Okay. In terms of your spiritual needs, how would you define, maybe it was not defined, how would you describe, I think that's a better word, your current
disposition?
Yes.
Spiritual.
Yeah, spiritual.
Yeah. Self-realized spiritually.
Okay.
The whole thing about spiritual enlightenment is that you realize that you're not the physical form, that your fundamental essence is spirit. And so I know that.
Okay.
I don't just think it, I don't just imagine it, I know that.
Okay.
I've experienced it.
Okay.
And that's called a spiritual awakening. And so
Okay.
when you have one of those, then the physical thing, it becomes more like a dream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And your current accommodation and what's it like where you?
It's fine, fine.
No, what I mean is, Was it one room? Was it,
It's a one-bedroom apartment.
okay, one bedroom. And how do you cater for in terms of your finances?
I'm in receipt of limited work capability.
Okay. And how do you manage your finances since it's unlike being an entrepreneur where your money can fluctuate and you have contracts. This is fixed. Every month.
Yeah, you have to cut your suit according to your cloth.
Okay.
You know, you have X amount of money every month, and you've got to be reasonably, careful.
Okay, and that's what you're doing at the moment?
Yeah.
Okay. So manages your finances by yourself. Okay, I think that basically covers everything. Any safeguarding concerns? No? Any other questions? Have you experienced any physical, sexual, or emotional abuse?
No.
That's the last question. Okay. I think we've got everything covered. Covered everything I need to know, and I'll put it in your file. I think the truth is this: at this point, I don't think there's much we as a service can do for you at this level.
Yeah.
I really don't think so.
No.
You know?
Well, that means I'm healthy.
Yes, it does mean
Yes.
you're healthy. It's just your personal experience, but there is a diagnosis, and we can provide a letter if it comes to that to
Yes.
say yes. We've been. It does fact that we can't do because it's now, but then I mean that's something that it will then be between you and the DWP, but we can provide a letter and
Yes.
say there is an official diagnosis to this.
Yes.
This is not acting
On my first diagnosis or consultation,
Yeah.
there was OCD.
Yeah.
I'm very obsessive and compulsive every day of my life. It's about order, it's about cleanliness, it's about strictness. With my guitar.
Has that always been? Would you describe it even when you were, way back?
Yeah, yeah. That I needed to create order from the first traumatic situation.
Okay.
Some people, well, we all deal with it differently. But my older brother, he's as dirty as they come.
Okay.
Me, I'm as clean as they come.
Okay.
And my father used to always offer me a job to do. If he said, look, there's a job going, you always pay us, and it's cutting all the hedges in the property, it's cutting the lawn, it's cleaning up the paperwork, it's doing this and that, who wants it? I go, me. And he'd always give it to me. He'd give the elder brother the opportunity in the early stages, but then he stopped giving it him because he was too flippant, he was too lazy, he wasn't conscientious enough, and that was the difference. And so my father knew that he could give me something and I would do it exactly how he told me to do it.
Okay. So hobbies before this trauma, what were your hobbies before 15 years ago?
Martial arts.
Martial arts. And then, in terms of friends, were you want to keep lots of friends or very few friends from as far as you can remember?
I was very social.
Okay. Parties. And all
Yeah, I'd go parties and out and drinking and doing lots of things. Not with an enormous amount of friends. I'd have a few friends, good friends.
Okay.
The ones that I'd vetted for stability and dependability. But since the episode in Ghana, I haven't seen a single one of them.
Okay.
And I've never even considered to go back to try to repatriate, because I just can't imagine what we would talk about, because I'm just so different. And so, yeah.
Romantic relationship wise, have you had some in the past? Do you have any child? Do you have any?
Yeah, I have a daughter from a relationship which was stable for 11 years.
Okay. Which period of your life was this?
That was from 20 years old to 31.
Okay. That's a pretty long time.
Mm-hmm.
So your daughter should be in her 30s now?
She's 35.
35, okay. Are you in contact with her?
Yeah.
Okay, and how would you describe your relationship with your daughter?
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apart from your daughter, are you in contact with your siblings, your sisters? You talked about your brother.
No.
Okay. Was that after the event or even before the event?
Oh, before the event, yes. I was in contact with them all.
Okay.
Well, sorry, with them all, the eldest ones. But
Okay.
but after, no. There's always a conflict
Okay.
with differing opinions and lifestyles.
Okay.
And you know, my younger sister, who I was very close to, she always tried to keep the relationship repatriated, and she would come round, but I just found her presence almost traumatizing, because she'd be conveying the trials of her life. And I would say to her, the trials of your life, they stem from mother. You know that. And so, you know, I've read books and, you know, watched stuff, you know, for many years, looking at doing this sort of stuff, and you've not done that. And that's why, you know, you are very, very confused and embittered with your life, and she'd come round and she'd unload all the problems, and she'd tell me I'd got problems, and I'm the one sitting here calm. I'm the one that's content with my life.
Tell you have got problems.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the one, because I'm a recluse, and because I don't want to see her anymore, because I don't see the family anymore, and all these sort of things. And I'm like, well, I'm working things out. You know, that's what you should be doing. And then she'd become annoyed, and then she'd go away. And, you know, it got to a point whereby I just didn't want to open the door, because I didn't want that conflict.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we basically covered all. So, but why is that different? And this is me just asking. Why is that different for your daughter? Why is it that? And my question is, you said it's good, it's cordial with your daughter.
Yeah.
But when it comes to your siblings, is that your daughter matches you in terms of how you think? Does she think like that, or it's just because, oh, she's my daughter, so I'm not going to go too antagonistic, or we're not going to be too antagonistic with each other?
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't spend a lot of time together. I see her for 2 hours a week. She's got her life and her fiance and her job and all these sort of things, and you know, she lives like a quarter of a mile away. We catch up, and she's not critical of me. She's not disappointed. You know, she doesn't pass opinion, and she listens, and so there's no reason for conflict. You know. But brothers and sisters, oh, you know, you're like this and you're doing that, and or what about you? You're doing. Oh goodness me, there you go.
Oh, okay. I get that. And the mother of your daughter, are you in contact with her?
No.
She's still alive.
She's still alive, and she's a doting mother, and she speaks with my daughter, you know, much more often than I do, because mothers have got more to say. She lives in the vicinity, and I see her from time to time. I bump into her. She's out walking the dog, I'm cycling, I stop and have a chat. And of course we've got something in common, which is our beautiful daughter. And so 10 minutes, and then I probably won't see her again for 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Aaron. I'm done. And if you're happy with it, it's up to you. If you want to have one more session and then we'll discharge you to primary care, or we could just do that now. It's up to you.
Yes. Okay. So as far as the data that you require, you're happy that you have everything. Okay. And so the avenue that I'm desirous to pursue is further talking therapy with someone who has spiritual inclinations, or you can't say qualifications, Lots of people, when they're coming to you know, psychology, is because they've had lots of issues and experiences that they couldn't get answers for. And so anyone who is a Jungian psychologist would be dealing with the metaphysical and the spiritual and the phenomenological and all these things which encompass the human consciousness, where most, like the last one, she had one thing, one arrow to her quiver. And I said, well, can we speak about more things? Every time I wanted to speak about more things, she told me I was storytelling. And I thought, well, isn't that what therapists are here for? You're supposed to listen. If I think it's important, I want to speak about the ramifications of my spiritual experiences and why I am like I am. But all she wanted to focus on was childhood trauma. And so I'm like, look, that was 58 years ago. Obviously there's going to be some subliminal stuff, but I think I'm pretty over it. The issue I've got is the shooting and my mental implosion, and she never addressed that at all. And so I want someone that I can speak with this, because I am desirous somehow to go out into places where people tentatively go and this sort of thing. So, because my opinion of the human being is of a failed species at this moment in time, and you know, I get it. It's because all I've been doing for the past 15 years is reading geniuses' works and listening to very intelligent people and speaking with AI. I've completely lost contact with the human being, and I'd like to see how, after 15 years, I would manage that.
Okay. I can't guarantee if there's a service for that. You know, I really can't. But I mean, I hear you, and I do agree. One of the things I said when I presented, because I did present your case, you know, to my colleagues, and I had a conversation with them.
Your colleagues were psychiatrists or psychologists?
Psychiatrists.
Right.
You know, and I said, look, and one of them said, look, and we both agreed that this is not typical psychotherapy pathway. And the typical structured psychotherapy may not get it, because then they'll be trying to focus on things that may not be the issue to focus on.
Yes.
And maybe that's why the whole EMDR thing kind of you know, backfired. But the thing too, and I said to, I also had a conversation with your previous psychologist as well, and I said, well, I think the only major thing is to say to you, what do you want? And to then point out the gap. So let me put it this way. You say you want to connect with people.
Yeah.
And yet you have a concept of people.
Yeah.
So there is like there's an ideal and there's the reality.
Yeah.
And there's a gap between those two.
Yeah.
There's the ideal you have, and then the reality you have to deal with.
Yeah.
And how do you bridge that gap? And I think in your conversation today, you did say something which can be argued, you know, but I mean, argued depends on however you want to see it.
Yeah.
But I want to bring out something from what you said. You said you don't believe in compassion, you don't believe in all that, you just believe in the action.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also in dealing with people, it's really not about your ideologies, it's about what you act out. Just the same way with compassion. Because if I say I have compassion and I don't act out a certain way, then how do I say I have compassion?
Indeed, you let another person be the judge of your actions.
So the same thing too, using that same philosophy or line of thinking to say, you want to connect with people, yet you have a concept of how people are.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about your concept. All I see is your actions.
Yeah.
So it's focusing on the actions rather than the concept.
You see, for this 15 years, I've been listening to the best thinkers the world has ever produced.
Yeah.
And most everybody else is vastly going to fall short of that. And so I have this thing, this obsession that I can't waste time looking for the pearls. It's like I'm fossicking for gold, and you know, I get one little flake like this maybe every 2 weeks. That's not enough to sustain me in my labour. when I should be reading all these books. I have 3 books at any given time that I'm reading, always philosophy or mysticism or things like that, and my bookshelf, I've read thousands and thousands of books, and every night I sit before the computer for 12 hours till gone midnight, and I'm absorbing. It's an obsession. And so I'm looking for the avenue of how I could break out of that. And so if I had someone that understood these things, you know, it'd need to be, you know, an old style sort of therapist, like a Jungian therapist. And, you know, you can get them online when you pay for them, £50 or £70 an hour. So they do exist. And so I wondered if you can put feelers out within the National Health, if there is such a person, you know, on your book, so to speak.
I doubt. I truly do.
Yeah.
I truly do. I truly do doubt if that like I said, maybe outside structured, you could find people like that.
Yes.
But in structured treatment, you're not likely to find that much.
Because they it's kind of like the National Health is like, we just need to patch this person up to get them back functioning in society again. Well, I need patching up, but in a deeper way. It's just the Band-Aid isn't going to do it for me, you know. And as cognizant as I am and can see what's going on with me, I still can't do that. You know, I should be able to say to myself, well, just go to this pub down there, or go to this venue, or, you know, do this and do that, and try and meet people, and, you know, take numbers, and, you know, this sort of thing. And it's just alien to me. It is completely alien. And so I'm wondering, well, how am I going to do that?
Okay. Good thing is that putting it this way then becomes something that we could use, because the truth is this: sometimes you take on existing principles and then just extrapolate it a bit.
Yeah.
Because what you just described is what we'll call a dissonance. Because as much as intellectually you know what to do,
Yeah.
but you can't seem to be able to get yourself to do that.
Yeah.
And part of what may have happened is this, because you see, as much as what I hear you constantly describe is you are constantly trying to disconnect from emotions and live in intellect. Constantly live there.
Yeah.
And feel like emotions make you weak or make you, you know,
or superfluous.
Yes, yeah. But the truth is, every single day you experience emotions. Every single day. I mean, you've been upset in this meeting sometimes when we started out. You've been upset in other meetings. You constantly, but you see, you're constantly trying to numb that out.
Yeah.
And live in what is intellectual. What is intellectual? You want to stay there. And so I think that dissonance, that constant, I don't want to feel emotions, but it is part of your makeup.
Yeah,
it is.
And this is what you know, Emma was desirous to address, and that's what she's trained to do. Okay. But I would just always be sidestepping, parrying, you know. But then, you know, when she, you know, really wanted to get down to it, I said, okay, I've come here to do it, let's do it. And I did it, and then I got emotional. And I said, I'm going to get emotional, but to what avail? I've been emotional all my life. Every time I think about death of my mother, if you think about it long enough, I'm going to get emotional. It's still there. You know, it's still there as strong as it was when I was 4 years old. Yeah. And, you know, this is the thing, and it's kind of like, well, you know.
So it clearly shows like a defense. It's a serious defense not to feel that. Because everything you're doing is getting more and more intellectual, because that makes more sense, or that is practical, that has an outright immediate outcome.
Yeah.
But being human, and you said something, you said, you know, it's like having, you've come to a realization that you're a spirit. Great. but you are a human. Let me rephrase that. You are a spirit having a human experience.
Yeah.
But the part you're taking is like being so conscious of the spirit.
Yes, detached from the human
and forgetting that.
And I suppose it's a safe space, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, my latest project, I have a project where, and the next one's going to be Hope, and I'll write extensively on this and look into it, and I'll be talking to AI about it and all this sort of thing. But the whole thing about love is, I'm like, well, look, I had emotions like that with the mother of my daughter for about 2 years before they tapered off, and then we had respect for each other and friendship, and you know that's a natural thing because we go through stages of love. There's about 7 stages of love according to the Greeks, and so we transition into different stages of love. So I'm all like, when people talk to me about love, or you should be more loving, or you should be more compassionate, I go, oh, okay, let's have a look then. What's this thing, compassion? Oh, compassion means this. And it means that, and it means that. It means empathy. It means pity. It means, you know. And I'm like, I don't want to get involved in it. I think it's too purposeless. If I see someone needing help, I'm going to help them. Okay, so be done with your compassion and your silliness, because I think it's silly. And if people proclaim to be in love, I'll go, you don't even know what love is. How can you say you have something when you don't know what it is? And they can say, well, it's a feeling. Yeah, it's a feeling. What sort of a feeling? Is it fear of loss? Is it detachment? Is it joy? Is it the sex? Is it the social thing? Is it because you've got a great looking guy or girl on your arm? There's a billion things. What's your love? You know, don't talk to me about my love. You know, whatever that is.
So, well, I guess we'll have this. We could go on and on, but I think this is not far-fetched from what therapy can help with. It may not be the classic, but it's not like what you are describing is detached from what. It's just to listen long enough to pick out what we could take and relate to modern therapy, if I may use the word.
So is there any avenues within the National Health that are hidden
I'm not sure.
that could fund private?
I'm not sure. I could have, I don't think so, but I don't know. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't speak of what I don't know. It's better I say, let me go find out, than to say no or yes.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe at our next conversation, I would have enough information regarding that, and then we'll decide.
Okay, so we'll come back for one more conversation, and then we'll talk. So not to keep you too much longer, Doctor, I very much appreciate your time here. I'm looking at some sort of a resolve, and I'm thinking, look, 15 years being a recluse, I'm still youngish, I've got things to offer in some shape or form. I've got to get over this self-imprisonment that I've done for all these years. It's a self-imprisonment. I've built myself up in an ivory tower where I look down upon the world with disdain and distrust and all this sort of stuff. I've got to come down from that. I've got to tentatively go out, and I've got to relax a whole lot more. And I have to sort of change my mindset. It's been so long since I've spoken to anybody that's so-called normal, you know? Because my mind is filled with Nietzsche and Parmenides and Socrates and Plato and, you know, all these people which were hermits. And so that's what I've become.
Yeah.
And so
hopefully we can work with that. It doesn't have to be anything special. If we can clearly, because sometimes it's all we need is clarity of what we need to work on.
Yeah.
So you don't go into a session and say, oh, we're dealing with trauma, so let's do EMDR.
Yeah.
You know, it's that, what's the need? The need is what you just said. Because I've gone through your notes, and the need is you want to be able to connect and come from, because this whole experience has led you into a path that is comfortable, but you also acknowledge that, but it has disconnected me, and I want to connect with people.
Yeah.
But even though you know that for a fact, but you can't seem to.
No, can't seem to get over that, because I told Emma that I have a saboteur. Sabotage is all relationships. I'm constantly severing them because of their lack of utility.
Okay.
And I'm always looking for utility. You know, it's mercenary. You know, I become a mercenary. It's kind of like, what can I learn about this person? Tell me about your childhood. Tell me about your trauma. Tell me why you do this. And if they say that, oh, that's a curious thing to say. Why do you say that? Because I know each word and each concept goes so deep, and my mind's kind of like this. And, you know, it's an obsession. It's overwhelming, and it is possibly some form of disease. And I would like to come back from it, because if I don't, I'm only going deeper.
Yeah. Okay. I think this is something we could explore within the way I could get this, put it in words that we can relate with, and say, okay, can we offer this kind of therapy? There's a therapy called ACT. Yeah, I think that's what it's called, ACT. I think it may be more appropriate for you, but I want to look into it.
Yeah.
So,
and the other thing is, if there's any avenue of any study which wants patients, clients, to impart information, to help them to be more enabled into recognizing spiritual issues and how to deal with it, because if the government is really desirous, this is a new frontier, and I would really love to get involved. That would give me some sort of avenue into the social realm.
Okay, so if that's because I think your case is really peculiar, and that's why I presented it, and I think it's something that is worth exploring with the wider community to see if that's something you are open to and don't mind.
I proclaim I'm an alien. I'm not from here. That's how I've become. It's kind of like my spirit has just come here to do reconnaissance on the human race. I'm not one of them. I look at them for all the silly things they do, and some of them are brilliant, and some of them, you know, wonderful, but they're so diverse, and every single person lives in their own world. They literally live in their own world and their own consciousness. They don't share the same world. They think they do, but they don't. You know.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
You know why? I'll tell you why I laugh, because you know I see how your eyes glows when you go into these concepts.
Yeah.
So and it further reiterates or further strengthens that thing of being detached, because you get really excited when you're talking on these things, and that's why I laugh. Like.
Yeah. So if I'm excited about the expression of it, Emma always used to say, "Are you going to be teaching me today?" And I'm like, well, we all need a teacher. You know, we could all benefit from, you know, listening and taking things on board.
I think it's, for me, it's getting clarity. It's as much as there's so much to say, it's simplifying what you're saying into words that are relatable with how we talk. It's just like we're able to take and say, this is what it is. That being able to put it in that statement makes all of the many words, what's it called again?
EPCACE?
The EPCACE, yes.
Yeah.
Being able to just put it at this is EPCACE.
Yes.
Makes it easier.
Yes.
To be relatable.
Of course.
Yes. So it's getting all these things you've said to and putting them again in words that someone can read and say, okay, we can work with this.
Yes.
I don't think it's far-fetched. I really don't think so. But let's see how it goes. Even if you go into therapy, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be open to us, because they are two different things.
Yeah.
You can be open to therapy service without being open to CMHT.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the goal here. So I'm likely going to refer you to the appropriate therapy service, and take you off our own service.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so I have a badge of sanity as far as you're concerned.
As far as I'm concerned, I just think it's the way you have processed your own stuff. Yeah, but doesn't rule out the fact that there is mental health. It doesn't mean illness. Just the question has always been for us is, would you call this a pathology, or this is just someone trying also to make without losing their mind, make sense of their own personal experience. They wouldn't call it, this is not mental illness. Well, I don't know, I hope you get my point. There is a diagnosis,
Yes.
but it doesn't mean illness.
Yes,
it just means...
It doesn't warrant me being incarcerated.
Yes,
it doesn't warrant me being under
put on
medication or surveillance.
That's the major thing.
Anything like that.
But if you want to go into therapy, and it doesn't also warrant you to seek help except you want it.
Yeah.
So if you say, I'm open to therapy, then oh great.
Yeah.
You know, but if you say, no, I don't want therapy, like as long as it doesn't, you're not at risk to yourself, you're not at risk to other people. And then for DWP, well, this is the letter to say,
yes,
there is a legitimate situation here.
Yeah.
Do with it as you please, you know, but there is a legitimate.
And as long as I am in receipt of the government money, then if ever they want to help me not be dependent on them, then if they do have any avenues which may be new to point me towards.
Yeah. And you are also open to, look, I'm open to having these conversations to explore, just in case there are other people like me, or later on they could be the first to build a service or a system and bring in something new into the system.
I look forward to it.
Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
My pleasure. I hope this was helpful.
Very helpful.
Okay.
Very helpful. And I have to say, I have to commend you on your write-up, because I couldn't fault a single thing.
Okay.
And what I recognised is that through the information that you jotted down, pointing an arrow here and everywhere, everything that you put down meticulously in order and correct as far as I'm concerned. And so I was very impressed with that.
Okay.
And I appreciate it immensely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.